Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video series is about the heavenly Royal African Falcon top martial artist, warrior, who is obviously me, and I am obviously heterosexual, versus the various forms of the beast. Okay, the three main forms that come to mind are the craftsman build, somewhere between 5'6" and 6'4". They tend to try to seem superior to the shorter craftsman. The tall social club builds, right? Nordic especially. And the third form is the nerd. And in the dictionary, nerds are described as foolish and contemptible, worthless, and boringly studious. It is retarded for them to think that they can somehow seem superior by sabotaging me. No one likes a saboteur who sabotages the most righteous person that ever lived. Their failure is extreme, and I thank God Almighty that I'm not from any of those three groups. So one must keep in mind that all these forms, right, bail and build, and bodybuilding, and building a society, building a culture, what have you, all these forms are an extreme rebellion against God, as they seek, as groups, they seek to try to put themselves above my natural form, to their extreme disgrace. By their actions, they reject sacred truths, as do everyone else on the planet who refuses to obey God through me, which is basically everyone else. And this also goes for everyone else who's outside the divine order on the planet, as they refuse to obey God through me. So in the name of God, I curse them, and I highlight that God wouldn't allow His Spirit to be directed from a leader in one of their forms. By that I mean a leader of all of humanity, a king of kings, an anointed one. It's very sad that they kept pushing it until not only them and their offspring were cut off from heaven, after my flesh dies, that is, but that they had to be chastised further by the top martial artist ever possible. And what I say matters more than what everyone else put together says. And by that I mean everyone who has ever lived, except for me, everyone who's alive now, and everyone who will ever live, if you want to call it living. Okay, so I'd like to point out that if you would stop persecuting me, and you would compensate me for what you've done, and have attractive women present themselves in submission for me to pick a wife, or at least do your best to accomplish that. Okay, outside the boundaries of following orders, but actually putting that first. And that would allow me to reduce the degree of harshness, if you want to call it that, to reduce the insults in this video series, which are something that's coming from God through me. Okay, that requires you doing God's work to reduce. That when I say it, has a very drastic effect on you and your offspring. I know you're not smart enough to understand that to the point where you obey God through me, but at least try to think about that, try to understand that, and understand that I've been more than fair in this series. And also, I will be more than fair in this series. Keep in mind, you've not only insulted God and I and the righteous, but you've also utterly trampled and disrespected your offspring. Okay, I'm sure you people have a very low opinion of yourselves. It is impossible to miss that what you're doing is despicable and a disgrace and not worthwhile. Keep that in mind.